YouTube? Welcome back to another chill Marvel Snap video. I am Sir Knight from the Snap Squad, and I wanted to come with a report on my infinite climb with the Snap Squad's free-to-play account. And I'm coming at you a week later. However, it only took 66 games, as you can see here, to hit infinite. 66 games. So I know a lot of people out there on YouTube talk a lot about how they hit infinite in a day, but I think what matters most is how many games it took you to hit infinite, because a day could be 12 hours, it could be 10 hours, it could be, who knows, all night long, just so long as you hit infinite in a day. And I don't know how we got on this infinite in a day scenario when it should be infinite in how many games. I'm curious how many games it takes a content creator to hit infinite. So on our Snap Squad free-to-play account, I hit infinite in 66 days, and you can see rank 100. You could see this season, 66 games. It was probably 60-40 bots, so I see lots of bots on this free-to-play account. I think Second Dinner has adjusted the game to take into consideration your collection level more than it used to in the past. So it's a pretty fun experience for free-to-play players. I'd recommend everyone to try a free-to-play account out, see how they enjoy it. I actually got really lucky, and I was actually able to grind up one single spotlight box last week to get Thanos. And if you look down here, I had one singular box. That was the most I could. Right there's my spotlight cache. You see that? And I popped Thanos. And that was a big major goal, because when I made this account, my plan was to show everybody how you could do a lot with the free-to-play account if you just have Thanos, or even if you just have High Evolutionary. So my goal was to start this account, hit the collection token levels, to start collecting collection tokens, and save up for Thanos, and that'd be my very first card that I buy with tokens. But they switched it on us, so I wasn't able to do that anymore, and I had to hope to get Thanos in a spotlight box. The difference between getting Thanos and not getting Thanos is like a major difference in my playing experience. But that doesn't mean you can't hit infinite if you don't have Thanos like I do. So I'm going to show you the two decks that I use to hit infinite, and to be honest, my non-Thano deck is much better at climbing the ladder. So let's go ahead and get into the two decks that I use to infinite. So the primary one that I used to hit infinite was this free-to-play version of W's Ramp Thanos. I actually did pull Psylocke in one of my collector boxes. And so I played something like this. I did not have Spider-Man, so I had put Vision in. And actually, ever since Spider-Man's been nerfed, W has been using Vision, so I kind of guessed that pretty well. It just felt similar to Spider-Man in the sense that you're locking down a lane. With Vision, you're kind of picking whatever lane you're not winning and getting a win out of it. So you're kind of like, in a sense, locking a lane down as well, in a weird sort of way. Right? If I put Vision into a lane that I'm losing, then I could put Vision into another lane to try to win it, which is kind of like securing me a lane. So just as Spider-Man was securing me a lane, Vision is kind of securing you a lane. And then Vision works really well with Angela, because you can throw Vision into the Angela lane and then move him out and throw something else into the Angela lane. I do not have Jeff, so I play Lizard. You could play Lizard, and then Professor X in the Lizard lane is very strong, especially because the idea here is to ramp out Professor X on turn 4. So there's probably not going to be a full lane by turn 4 in the Lizard lane. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of better than Jeff, because you're putting 8 power by turn 4 into a lane, which is most likely going to secure you that lane. So I primarily use Lizard to try and reinforce the Professor X lane. Just kind of like how you would use Jeff, except he's 2 more power. And you don't have the freedom of being able to move him out of the lane. But like I said, he's 2 more power. So it's a pretty good trade-off. And then you just have some control pieces. I do not have Iron Lad. This is a free-to-play account. I do not have Iron Lad, so I just play White Queen. And I think White Queen, she's not quite as strong as Iron Lad, but she's damn strong. Like, very comparable. It's not that far off. I usually feel really good about playing her on turn 4. If I haven't been able to ramp into something on turn 4, she's a really good turn 4 alternative. Being able to scout your opponent's hand is great, and not just that, you're scouting your opponent's win condition most likely, so you can like steal it. So it's really good in this Thanos deck because Thanos gets ahead early with stones and ramping stuff out, and then White Queen can just steal the opponent's win condition. So she's very comparable in a different way to Iron Lad. Yeah, maybe not quite as strong, but very comparable. So this deck is just really, really strong. Like, Shang is just great. Cosmo is just great. You have a lot of control options. You have Professor X. You're just as competitive with these cards as you would be with the more expensive cards like Jeff and Iron Lad. So Vision is just a fantastic card. It's a great card. If this was released next week as a brand new card, I think everyone would want it. It'd be a very high value Series 5 card. So really, really dope, especially since they buffed it to 8. I think made it a much better card. So Vision is incredible. Now, if you don't have Psylocke and you still want to run a Thanos deck if you're a free-to-play account, then I would recommend something like Thanos Ongoing. I did get Ghost for this, but you don't have to run this. I like Ghost only because she's ongoing. It doesn't work as well in this because you're not running Valkyrie. I don't have Valkyrie, so I run Iron Man instead of Valkyrie. But this deck is really strong. Once again, you have Cosmo, you have Professor X, so you have some controlling options, you have armor. Colossus is kind of low-key, pretty good utility. He dodges lanes that destroy, he dodges lanes that decrease power, he doesn't get decreased in power when your opponent tries to decrease him in power, he can't be moved. He has some low-key utility, especially in this move meta with all the different move cards. So he's interesting, he's not bad, and then of course he gets buffed by Spectrum as well. So I would recommend running something like this Thanos Ongoing deck if you do not have what do we call Psylocke. So if you don't have the ramp version, I would do that. Now, if you don't have either of these things, you don't have Thanos at all, then I would just recommend running Kazoo. And this is the exact build I would recommend running. Now, the only Series 3 card in here I have is Titania because I happen to pull her. But if you don't have her, then I would just put in, like, Rocket Raccoon. You only drop Rocket Raccoon on the last turn. Just like Titania, they do very similar things. Your opponent plays in that lane. Then you get 2 more power. And it's basically the same as Titania. So I would just run Rocket Raccoon. This deck is super strong. I feel like this deck is even stronger than the Thanos deck for climbing the ladder because it's got a decent matchup into human beings. You're going to win some of those games, and you're going to lose some, but you're going to win some, and you are a bot-crushing machine with this deck. I have a super high win percentage here on this account. It's actually 65.55 out of 418 games played. And it's because I just crush bots with this Zoo deck. Like, it's the bot crushing machine. Because the way it works is you really just throw out things to set yourself up for turn 6. So you throw Angela out, which is 0 power. You throw Bishop out for 1 power. I use Captain America in here. I like him in a lot of ways. The one reason why I like him over something like, let's say, Maximus, if I even had him, is because I can throw him out there early, and then, if I have spare mana on turn 3, right? Like I don't have Bishop, I can just throw him out there early, and then he'll collect his power later in the game, right? Like he'll give me his power on turn 6 still, so I can throw him out early. Or with like someone like Maximus or Swordmaster, those are also 3/6s, but you kind of have to wait till the final turn to play them. Right? Where Captain America, you don't. You can throw him out there early, and you'll still get your power on turn 6. So I think Captain America is really dope. I really enjoy playing him. He's like hidden power that's saved within the game. In a lot of ways, the same way Kazar is, and the same way Blue Marvel is. And so really what you're trying to do is just you're trying to throw out Angela, Bishop, Captain America, Khazar, and Blue Marvel all before turn 6, and then turn 6 you just vomit your hand out with 1-drops. And I also have Wolfsbane in here, a really great hidden power value. He's basically my Hitmonkey. We do not have Hitmonkey on this free-to-play account, so Wolfsbane is our Hitmonkey. Wolfsbane is about a 3/7. Hitmonkey is usually about a 3/8. So they're very similar in power. And sometimes Wolfbane can double up even more. If you have like an on-reveal location or something, you can double it up twice. Just some sneaky things you can do with Wolfbane, just like Hitmonkey. Very similar cards. So he's kind of like our poor man's Hitmonkey, or she is our poor man's Hitmonkey, Wolfbane. And if I had Kitty Pryde, I would cut Blade for Kitty Pryde. So that's the primary thing I would cut here. I would cut Blade for Kitty Pryde. Elektra is low-key good control. Your opponent doesn't expect it. You can kill that Sunspot or Nebula or even your opponent's Kitty Pryde. Pretty strong. Squirrel Girl is kind of like Mysterio. Sometimes I even like her better because she can be like a low-key Doom. Because if you have both Khazar and Blue Marvel out, she's a 3. She summons 3/3/3s. So kind of like Doom is like 4/4/4s, but Doom himself is 5. So it's like very similar, but she only costs 1 mana. Doom costs 6. Also, she can get into lanes that Mysterio can't. Mysterio plays all the cards. Squirrel Girl puts them out. So she doesn't buff Bishop, but she can get into all the locations that Mysterio can't. So Squirrel Girl is really neat on turn 6. You don't always need her, but when you do, she is there for you. And then Nightcrawler also is just low-key utility. If your hand is getting full, you can play Nightcrawler out to Angela and not ruin your board because you can move him away and still buff Angela later. So this deck is just really strong. Of course, you auto-lose to Wave. You auto-lose to Sandman, right? But that's okay. You just walk away from those games. You otherwise are very competitive into almost everything else in the meta, and you are a bot slayer. Not just in the fact that you beat bots, but in the fact that you take them for 8 cubes a lot. That's how you can get to infinite in such a short amount of games. So this is really the deck that I recommend. If you have Thanos, then I recommend that other free-to-play Thanos deck. That deck is going to be a little bit more competitive into the meta than the Zoo. So if you're playing more humans, I would recommend something like this. If you're playing more bots, then I would recommend something like this. So that is my free-to-play Infinite guide. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Hope you guys are having a great week, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.